So in other words, I didn't miss it. Nice. It's kind of nice having you guys around. So I'm going to talk about the breaking point. We all have one. So we're going to talk about breaking point. We're going to talk about a spiritual breaking point. There is such a thing. And so stop me at any time with questions. Let's make this a discussion and not a lecture. Don't you hate lectures? Don't you? But discussions are much more fun, as long as I'm the one that gets to do the talking. So, what is this breaking point that we're talking about? I made some notes here, so I didn't forget what we're talking about. The breaking point is the point at which a person gives way under stress. Right? Oh, that's it. I can't take this anymore. You know, I think we've all been there. We're all heading there. So we've been there. We're going back. So we're going to have a few breaking points. It's also the point at which a situation becomes critical. The breaking point. It's time to do something. I've got to act. Or the point at which something loses force or validity, like stretching the rules until the breaking point. You get to a point, it doesn't matter, nothing makes any sense anymore. So in human psychology, the breaking point is a moment of stress in which a person breaks down or a situation becomes critical. The intensity of environmental stress necessary to bring this about varies from individual to individual. So, am I wrong? Has anybody not had a breaking point in their life? So we could call it a fork in the road. I've got to make a choice. I've got to do this or I've got to do that. But we've come to a point that requires us to make a decision. So that could be called a breaking point too. You don't have to have your mind snapped to have a breaking point. I've got to change the position. I've got to change the direction in my life. And so I can either do this or I can do that. So we've all experienced this, haven't we? Great saintly persons experience this as well. Arjuna, when he was talking to Krishna, he had a breaking point. He got to the point where his mind is about to break. He just didn't know what to do. He was losing his composure. He even told Krishna, I'm losing my composure. He says, Karpanya dosho pahata swabhavaha prichami tvam dharm samuda cheta. What did I skip? Yatstreya hashan nishtichan bruitan me sisyastiham shadiman tvam prapana. So, what does that mean? That means Arjuna is saying, now I'm confused about my duty and I've lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you, Krishna, to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. So Arjuna was arguing with Krishna. He was putting forth arguments why he shouldn't fight, although he's a warrior. I don't want to fight this war. Why? Because he saw his relatives on the other side. He looks out across the battlefield and, wow, grandfather, cousins, he's got to go out there and fight these people. And so he doesn't want to do it. So Arjuna comes to the realization that this not wanting to fight because of people that are his relatives was what Prabhupada refers to as a skin disease. We all suffer from skin disease from time to time. I'm judging you because of your skin color. You know, I'm judging you. Your skin comes from the same. You're the same byproduct of the same bodies that my body is the byproduct of. So we have similar skin. We have the same blood. What does that even mean anyway? No, we don't. Just because we're brothers doesn't mean we're going to have exactly the same type of blood, does it? So we say that we have the same blood. We think that these bodies that we have link us together because your mother and my mother were the same person. Now that could have something to do to make us a little closer together because we shared a lot of our lives together. But really, let's think beyond the temporary body. Arjuna is finally starting to do this. He's seeing beyond the temporary nature of the bodies. And he's realizing that, no, Krishna, you want this war for the benefit of all humanity. Not only that, but all of humanity to come for thousands of years. This is very important to people like myself. It's time for me to get serious in my decision-making process. And my dear Lord Krishna, you're simply looking out for the benefit of me as well as everyone, as well as my family. So at that point, he was saying, I'm confused about my duty and I'm losing all my composure. Wow. For a great warrior like Arjuna to lose his composure, that's kind of hard to imagine, isn't it? You see? But this was hitting Arjuna very strong. He knew that what he should do, and he knew what he wanted to do.
Breaking point.
So anyway.
Just reordered one. It's actually
I'll believe it when I see it. After so many decades of this, why is it going to change? It's not going to change. This guy will always win. Over in India, we travel through a third world country, all their microphones, the stands seem to work. But this one costs 10 times as much, but theirs seem to work. So Arjuna he's starting to wonder, what should I do here? I don't know. I can't make this decision on my own. My dear Krishna, I surrender to you. Now I'm your disciple. Please direct. So this is the spiritual breaking point that all of us have to come to for us to get over the big hurdle to make rapid, meaningful spiritual advancement. You have to get to the point where you surrender. You have to say, my dear Krishna, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to try to resist your temptation. You're the most attractive. You're most wonderful. You're the source of love, the source of beauty. I can't resist you anymore. I give over. I surrender. So now I'm your disciple. And a soul surrendered unto you, please instruct me. So it's kind of like that. Is there water coming?
Okay.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So Arjuna's realizing, Krishna, I can't make this decision on my own. I can't go any further on my own. I will just speculate and I'll be confused by the illusory energy. So therefore, I'm surrendering to you. So every living entity has to come to that point at some time. It's like if you were going to be a lawyer. You go to law school. You have to surrender to the guy who's teaching you law, don't you? You can't go in there thinking, I probably know as much about this as you do, so let's just get it over with. That's not going to carry you through. You're going to have to go in and say, Sishyastiham Shadimam Tvam Prapam. Now I'm surrendered to you. I'm putting my future as a lawyer in your hands. Please instruct me. And if you listen to the guy and And he knows if he's bona fide, then you're going to get your degree and you can become a lawyer. Same is true for a doctor. If you're going to become a doctor, you have to surrender to a teacher that knows more than you do. If you're going to become an automobile mechanic, you have to surrender someone who knows more than you. Spiritual life is the same way. Spiritual life is something, however, that a lot of people tend to want to do on their own. I want to do my own thing. Have you ever talked to somebody and you get on the subject of spiritual life and they say, "Oh, I do my own thing." And I'm always thinking, well, I got to hear this. So you just pulled a religion out of your sleeve. You and your magnificent mind, you have found God all on your own without any speculation. And you're willing to hang your entire spiritual life on that. Probably not. I think you're just living for the moment. Once you've done this for more than 5 decades, you get to where you can read people. And typically when they say that, that's just for the moment. Yeah, I do my own thing. Oh, today. It's like I used to know this fellow that would come around the Dallas temple. He was one of those guys that has his own thing that he just kind of cooked up. And so we were talking one time and he wasn't, I found out that he doesn't drink alcohol and he doesn't smoke cigarettes. So these are his regulative principles that he placed on himself. He didn't eat meat unless it was Thanksgiving or Christmas, maybe Easter. Rest of the time, you're a vegetarian. So, because when you write your own religion, you can kind of give yourself a little, no meat, except on Thanksgiving you can have it, but only turkey. So it is spoken, so it is written in my religion that I created. So then I saw him a few months later. He came to another event at the Dallas temple. And he was over kind of in the corner of the property and smoking a cigarette. So I told him, "Hey, we don't allow any cigarette smoking on our property. But I thought you didn't have that problem anyway." And he said, "Well, sometimes I change it." So I thought, well, his name was Ray. I said, "Ray, you got it made. Well, you can change principles depending on how you feel today. Why? Today, I don't eat meat, but today I'm in the mood, so I'm changing it all." You see? So if spiritual life, I think you probably will agree that's probably not the better path to take to actually achieve perfection, to find God. Shouldn't we, if we want to find God and please Him, if we find Him, wouldn't we? So if we're going to do that, shouldn't we consider maybe, I don't know, doing what He would like us to do and not what we want us to do? Can you imagine showing up to Krishna and you say, "Hey, Krishna, let's talk shop here. I got my own religion that I concocted. I want to compare it to yours, Let's see if we can negotiate a little." That doesn't seem to fit. Arjuna is demonstrating the proper mentality. "Oh, my dear Krishna, I'm a soul surrendered to you. Please instruct me as your disciple." So Prabhupada says in the purport that this is the main, what does he put it? Prabhupada says, by nature's own way, I gotta get up here. By nature's own way, the complete system of material activities is a source of perplexity for everyone. In every step, there is perplexity, and therefore, it behooves one to approach a bona fide spiritual master who can give one proper guidance for executing the purpose of life. Or you can make it up. Why, you can take a little snippet from this one and a little piece from that one and kind of get some super glue and patch it all together, and you've got your own thing. Maybe you don't want to use super glue because you may want to change some of your principles depending on the weather or your mood, you know. So, is this making any sense?
Mhm.
If we're really sincere, why don't we find the source? Well, the real source, what is the source? Krishna says, I'm the source of everything. I don't know, is there, maybe you guys know more about different religions than I do. I've studied some, but I don't know of any other personality other than Krishna. Correct me if I'm wrong. That says, I am the supreme person. Does anybody know anybody else? I don't think Buddha ever said that. No. So does anybody know of any other? I am the supreme personality of Godhead. So there you go. Krishna is the one. He's out there saying, I'm the source of all sources. I am the taste in water. I'm the original scent of the earth. Krishna is the origin of love. It seems somebody that would be good to surrender to, doesn't he? Nice. He's loving, source of, beautiful, source again, you see, has all knowledge. So I can't think of anyone better to surrender to. And if we can't get to him, then let's go to his representative or the representative of his representative. It's called, we have this disciplic succession through the years, through the hundreds, thousands, millions of years, there's a disciplic succession. And so guru teaches disciple, disciple becomes guru. Then he teaches his disciples and they become guru, on like that. So Prabhupada is pointing out, he says, all Vedic literatures advise us to approach a bona fide spiritual master to get free from the perplexities of life, which happen without our desire. They're like a forest fire that somehow blazes without being set by anyone. I used to live near the Smoky Mountains years ago, and from time to time there would be a fire. You know, there would be this fire. Couldn't trace down how did it start, maybe lightning, different things like that. So Prabhupada points out we don't want fire. We don't want perplexities. We don't want complications in our life, but they come anyway. It happens, you see. So Prabhupada goes on to say that similarly, the world situation is such that perplexities of life automatically appear without our wanting such confusion. No one wants fire, yet it takes place, and we become perplexed. So we get challenges throughout life. We're all going to need some help from time to time. Some people need help, legal help, legal advice. You may need to go to the doctor for medical advice. You may have to find a guru for spiritual advice. I would not advise you to take spiritual advice from your attorney or your doctor. They're not qualified, you see. By the same token, the guru's probably not the best doctor or the best attorney. A smart guru will probably tell you get an attorney if you need an attorney. When you need a guru, and we all do, you need to find one that's bona fide. How is the guru bona fide? He's sold out to his guru. His guru was sold out to his guru, and so on, all the way back to Krishna. So the duty of the spiritual master is to give you Krishna consciousness. Undiluted. What is it? Prabhupada says unalloyed, not alloyed with anything else, just pure Krishna consciousness, love of Godhead. Within that, once we learn how to love God just a little bit, you immediately learn how to love all other living entities. Not just the human beings, not just the human beings that have the same skin color, you know, or the ones that vote for the candidate that you like. I've had a lot of realizations. Again, every 4 years when there's a an election in the United States, it's amazing to see some of the underlying problems that we have due to our material consciousness. You may have a friend or an acquaintance, and you maybe like that person. They seem like a nice person until you find out who they voted for. He voted for that guy. Oh, wow, that changes everything. Well, no, it doesn't change anything. It changes what you've got in your meager little brain. I'm starting to judge you, although I'm not judgmental, but yet I'm judging you. Have we heard this before? I'm judging you because you voted for him. So, it's like, so I can see how my fellow man likes to rag on each other. We want to be together, but there's certain things that will hold us apart. Real consciousness will separate us. Spiritual consciousness brings us together. Spiritual consciousness keeps us together. Spiritual consciousness gives a life, a reasonable life, happy life to live. Material consciousness will divide us again and again and again. As soon as we get divided, into two big groups, we'll divide into smaller groups, and those groups will get smaller and smaller. We have a tendency to do that in our material. I'm looking for people that will help me fulfill my dreams. So a lot of people tell you that, don't they? They tell you, follow your dream. Do we ever listen to what these things sound romantic, don't they? Follow your dream. What's wrong with your reality? Are we afraid of our reality? But I can dream, I can concoct something that doesn't exist. No, why not follow reality? What is reality? It's illusion distinguished from truth. What is right and what is wrong? We should really want to know that. So we have three sources that we go to figure out, is something true? Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. We go to our guru. Hey, is this true? I heard this. Yes, no, whatever. Sadhus, those who are like us, our god brothers, god sisters, and they're advanced. So we'll go to them for their advice. Or Shastra, we'll read. What does Krishna say? What does Lord Chaitanya say? You see, so we're interested in separating fact from fiction. We don't want to chase a dream. Because the people who tell you to chase your dream, they have no idea of how beautiful the reality is for you, the living entity. You are a part and parcel of God Himself. There's nothing that you need to dream. The reality is so much better. Your true story is so much better than anyone could ever possibly imagine. But we don't know it due to ignorance. We don't have the words of Guru. We don't listen to the sadhus, and we don't read enough scripture. I don't know what my reality is. I can only create some sort of a false dream. Isn't that sad? It's like writing letters to Santa Claus, isn't it? I got to be careful. One time I said that, there was a little boy. Mommy! Oh gosh. I don't think there's anybody in here that believes in Santa Claus. At least not anymore, I guess. But you might as well. I'm going to have a dream that I'm going to climb Mount Everest, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. Why don't you find out what your reality is? it may amaze you just how wonderful your reality is. Because you can't dream. You can't dream anything as fabulous as your true reality with God and all other living entities. So this is the purpose of spiritual life, to discover this. And not to just discover it, to conquer it, to become God conscious. There and know it's there. You know? If I'm not careful, I'll put it off, and I'll put it off. And I may not get to it in this body. You see? That's sad. We don't want to waste a human birth. You know? In this human body that we have, we can take it all the way. You can actually find your lost eternal identity. And when you do, it's going to amaze you. Better than any dream that you could possibly concoct. So I think I'll pause now so that we don't talk too long and see if there's any more discussion, comment. Yeah.
Raj, nice to be back and to see you back with you and Krishna. So it seems that sometimes surrender, we want to surrender or we do surrender, but then there's still, I think it seems very hard because a lot of times that surrendering doesn't give you immediate relief, from the pain or from the suffering or from the desire, the burning desire of material life, the lust. Krishna, I'm just reading yours. I'm not going to act on this, but the desire and the fire is still there. So sometimes it's hard to have faith in that surrender. So how do we develop that faith, or are we not surrendering properly?
It's a struggle because all of our lives we've been taught that surrender is the things that losers do. Japan surrendered after we dropped 2 nuclear weapons on them. Germany surrendered after we beat them to death for years. Well, it's not, the South surrendered once the North starved them to death practically. So this surrender doesn't really have a good ring to it, now does it? Except when you factor in love. Surrender is what lovers do. They make themselves vulnerable to you. When there's love involved, then we want surrender. We want surrender to each other. When there's no danger, when I'm in a safe place, why then that's natural for the living entity to feel like, oh, you're a family or you're a friend. We've got so much together. I will tell you things, I will reveal things about me. I'll become vulnerable to you. This is how people get closer together. Mind to someone, they go tell it to everybody. There's some people have a tendency to do that. And how do you cure them from it? I don't know. It's hard. It takes work to cure people from the tendency to gossip and tell things about other people. It takes a lot of work. Maybe even a lifetime of work. I don't know. Once you get started, I don't know if you can get it stopped. So, we're going to try. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it's nice because it's like, it's when we're thinking like, I want to surrender to you. Lord Chaitanya, Ramananda Roy had said that Lord Chaitanya asked, what's the highest thing? He said so many things behind Lord Chaitanya. Ramananda Roy said, surrender unto me and I will relieve you from all sinful reactions. Quoted that verse from Bhagavad Gita. Lord Chaitanya said, that's not even the highest because it's still based on me.
Yeah.
But Lord Chaitanya was going for the gopis that I'm surrendering and I don't care how I feel because I love you. I'm doing what you want. And that's
and that's so difficult for us in our current consciousness to fully understand, to do what someone else wants you to do. Now we feel like we're not made like that. I want to do what I want to do. I want choices, at least A, B, and C, or at least A and B. I don't want to do what you want to do. Why? Because I don't care. I don't care if you like it or not. I'm looking out for good old number one over here. I want to do what I want to do. So therefore, when you ask me to surrender, I'm thinking, well, what strings are attached here? What are you going to, you're going to try to control me. You see? Well, Arjuna was telling Krishna, please control me. Take me as your disciple. Not out of fear, out of love. My dear Krishna, I want you to be happy. I want to offer myself to you to make you happy. So somebody, I forget who it was, it's a great quote. Don't judge how happy, this I'm not quoting it properly, but don't judge your life by how happy you are. Judge your life, the success of your life, by how happy other people are because you exist. You're not going to get, you're only going to get so much happiness for yourself. You know, once you make yourself happy a little bit, you know, maybe you're a little proud, you can brag about this or that. I can hit a golf ball this far, whatever, you know, so you got, what do they call it? Bragging rights. You can brag. I climbed up Mount Lemon. You know, see, I got bragging rights, you know. But when you do something that helps somebody in their life, that gives you a lot more of a taste. Surrendering to helping other people is really what the living entity is good at. We're not very good at just doing for ourselves. In a world where people are doing for themselves, you have a fragmented world. In a world where everyone's looking out for the other person, you have a completely cohesive, united, harmonious world. What if the world could work in harmony? Well, it can't work in harmony if I'm looking out for me and you're looking out for you. I mean, we can pretend that it does or pretend that it will, but it's not going to happen. Just apply your intelligence to it. You know that can't work. But yet, if we're all looking out for each other, then we have this. Can I let him ask his question and then I'll get back? Okay? Okay.
I was following up on that. How does one surrender to Krishna?
You just tell him, Krishna. You don't have to get formal. Look, I surrender. I'm presenting myself to you. I am yours. But you are also mine. We're in this eternal love affair together. I am yours. And nothing can ever change that. We were separated. You see, we forgot God. He didn't forget us. We just say, I surrender. I surrender to you. Direct me. Just direct me. And we can't make a promise that I'm going to follow every instruction you give me. Not right away. But I'll do my best, or I'll try to do my best. And as time goes by, I'll get to where not only will I follow your instruction, but I'll get to know you so well that, like lovers do, I will anticipate your desires. Now that's real love, isn't it? You know, when you have a partner and you're anticipating what they want with tremendous accuracy, I mean, that's really, if that partner happens to be a woman, you're going to be standing pretty good with them. Women like that. Men, yeah, okay, you know, but women especially, they like it when you anticipate what they want. You get them a gift and they're like, oh, how did you know that I want it? Well, we're all like that too, you see. But this is where there is some affection. Why can't we do that with Krishna? We get to know his personality. We know what he wants. In every situation that's upon you, you're going to know what he wants. I know what would make you happy in this situation. And making you happy really makes me happy. You see? So that means you've been swept away by surrender. Now, why does Krishna want you to surrender? Because that's what lovers do. He wants to surrender to you. It's not a one-sided thing. It's not like, okay, I surrender. Oh my God, what's he going to do with me now? Oh, no. Krishna surrenders to you too. I mean, look at it this way. We're dealing with the supreme entity. He doesn't need anything. He has no needs. So he doesn't have any ulterior motive. You know, it's like, I'm going to have you wash my car every Saturday or something like that. You're going to have to cut my grass. Wait a minute, we don't do that in Arizona, do we? You see? No, he wants to serve you. He doesn't need, he just wants you to straight his. But there's no strings. You could just say, look, I don't want to be this close, and try to walk away. Once you've tasted a higher love, it's pretty hard to walk away from it. It's not possible. Not at all. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. But what you were saying earlier, having a drink, or just, for me, I've never, like a little kid being like, my dreams when I grow up, I want to be an astronaut.
Yeah.
I never really, like, I personally, I haven't like had that, and just human existing. And that's what I'm curious. Have you experienced, surrendering to Krishna and then asking questions to Krishna? Do you receive like answers? Like every question?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
You get answers. You may not get, like some people, they want a big booming voice in the sky or something like that,
It's like a feeling.
And maybe even more than. Maybe there's a feeling along with a certain set of opportunities or doors that open up that's not normal. And you realize, I've asked you to direct me, so this is your reply. You see? So there is communication. And Krishna can and will talk to you directly. Maybe not right away. And maybe not when you expect him to. Maybe he's waiting for the right time when he'll have your undivided attention, so that he can just give you a brief hint on how to overcome an obstacle. Simply, it might even, why don't you try this? Oh, wow, yeah. I couldn't figure that out. You see, working together. So, let me ask Sean. Sean.
It's so nice to be in this.
It's nice to be back.
I think that was a really wonderful question that you asked. I think you sweetly answered it. When we hear the idea of Sharanagati or surrender, we immediately go to restriction. And the Vedas conclude that the greatest freedom is given. And it sounds like an oxymoron. What is this great freedom that we're given in that surrender?
Well, we're always, whether we like to admit it or not, we're always surrendered to something. So there's the spiritual energy, or God, and there's the material energy, or the illusory things that we think are that aren't. You see? And we're being controlled by one of those all the time. I mean, my own world, just in my thoughts, I can develop my own world. I can live according to my rules only. No, you can't. No matter how loudly you declare that you're living by your own rules, the traffic policeman is going to pull you over if you're in the zone at 80 miles an hour. You see? You are under the control of the world, and we don't want to admit it. But we are. So the living entity has a choice of being controlled by the spiritual energy or the material energy. Now, even if we're controlled by the spiritual energy, we still have to obey the traffic. See? There's certain moral things that we really do need to do, whether we write them into our own religion or not, you see. But if we surrender to the spiritual energy, well, then we're dealing with things that are eternal, not temporary. We're dealing with things that please others, not just ourselves. We're dealing with a genuine love, not a superficial love based on skin color or political party or anything like that. Real eternal love. So this is very hard for us to teach people. It's so hard for us to come out of this illusion. Why should I believe you? If you say there isn't an all-loving God, why should I believe you? People feel that way. You've met that. You've met up with people like that, haven't you? You know? Well, are you saying that you shouldn't believe in the all-loving side of spiritual life, but you're going to believe in the material side? Well, because you can perceive it with your senses? Well, I don't see God, so I don't know if I believe in it. You know, there's a lot of things you can't see. You can't see X-ray, or what is that the remote control has? What is that light?
Infrared.
Wi-Fi. Yeah.
This false sense of independence that we experience in so much entanglement. Or with Krishna, is there a state of independence? You're a person. It's so difficult for many of us to grasp that we are actually eternal persons.
Right.
And in this freedom that is given, are we independent in that freedom, or how does it work with Krishna?
You have what we should refer to as a minute bit of independence. We have all the qualities because we're part and parcel of God. We have all of His qualities. We have He's independent. We also have some independence, because without independence, there's no meaning in love. If I love you because I have chosen to love you, then that's genuine. If I love you because I'm afraid not to, no, that's tainted. You know, Krishna doesn't want that kind of love. So that independence means that I choose to love you, or I choose not to. And I choose not even God. Well, but everything is God's energy. I mean, this is God, everything comes from God, you see. So He gives us this illusory energy that we can believe that all of this is separate from Him, you see. I don't believe in God, but there's all this stuff that accidentally just appeared. It's all a big accident, you see. That's easier to believe than no, there is a cause and there is a source. For some people, only because that's the way they want to see it. You see. Let me ask. He's been holding his hand up. I'll get to you though.
Hare Krishna, thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna, Dr.
for your
Thomas.
question.
Welcome to Tucson.
Thank you. All those definitions you gave at the beginning of the presentation about the breaking point in material consciousness is almost always a negative thing, but it's often that the breaking point becomes the blessing point. And you gave an example of Arjuna. That was the real turning point for him to
Yeah.
reach that point of surrender. Or I think of Prabhupada, finding out his wife sold his Tom's led to Krishna consciousness in the West. I was curious, what were your breaking points that were real turning points in your spiritual journey, maybe when you first came to Krishna consciousness or took up the role of being a spiritual master?
Well, that was so long ago, it's hard to remember. 53 years ago, let's see. What brought me to what convinced me about Krishna consciousness was reading Bhagavad Gita. So I grew up in a very poor family, poor surrounding, south side of Chicago, not a good neighborhood. And then as soon as I left home when I was a teenager. I was like 16. I left home and got out on my own and I started to do really good. For the first time in my life, I had some pretty good money coming in. And so I got successful very early in life after I left home, you see. But I couldn't get, I couldn't get anything. I can't get no satisfaction. Well, here I am, a young guy. I've got lots of money, knew a lot of people, got around. I was in every party in town. Everybody knew me. But it just wasn't satisfying. Different girlfriends, different this, toys, a Jeep, boat, this, that, whatever, because I had money and I wanted to taste the material energy, but I felt like it wasn't giving back, Why, for the money that I spent on this toy, it should be given of ecstasy, but it's not. So I had all these questions. When I was a kid, I went to church because I was invited. And it just so happened the prettiest girl in school was the daughter of the pastor of the church. So, of course, I said, sure, I'll go to church. And so when I got to church, I had all these questions. This is great. Now, I was born a Jew, but my mother wasn't very religious. So when I asked her if I could go to the Baptist church, she said, go, just go. Just get out of the house. So I heard the Jewish philosophy, heard the Christian philosophy. I had all these questions. I couldn't get my questions answered. And sometimes people would tell me, there's just certain things God doesn't want you to know. And so after feeling very frustrated, I should be happier for the kind of money that I have. I should be happier. I mean, this guy over here is making 1/10 of what I'm making. I should be 10 times happier, right? Well, it just wasn't working out for me. I wasn't satisfied. And I still had all these answers, all these questions. So all of a sudden, one day I came across a Hare Krishna devotee, and he stuck a Bhagavad Gita in my face. And I said, what is that? And he said, this is the answers that you've been searching for all your life. I think, wow, give me that book. Here, take some money, take some more money. Just give me the book. And so then I took off up into the mountains and read the book again and again. And when I came out of the mountains, I was a whole different person. I saw things differently. So then I decided to search out the devotees and search out Srila Prabhupada. And I got snared. I got caught in Krishna's web. And every time I tried to get out, they dragged me back in. So, but that's what I tell everyone. There is a point, and I'll give you all fair warning. I don't know if all of you have hit that point yet, but there's a point of no return. When you read enough, if you get enough transcendental knowledge, you're not going to be able to just put it down and walk away from it. Because the truth is so wonderful to experience. And once you get knowledge, how do you dumb yourself down? You see, so you get to the point where that certain point where there's no going back. You can't do anything else. Nothing else is going to give you what it is you're looking for. You see? So, Yeah, I mean, that's how I met the devotees, and one thing led to another. I kept getting more and more service through the years, and Krishna just, it's hard for me to say that I ever truly surrendered to Krishna, but I was open for suggestions. And so, I don't know, it's hard for me to think of myself as fully surrendered to Krishna. So, but yet, he somehow or other has guided my life for the last 53 years and did a pretty good job. I can't take any credit myself. The only credit that I have is that I surrendered to my spiritual master and asked him, how can I serve you? And he said, you can speak, you can preach. And so it's pretty simple. I asked him, what do you want? He said, I want you to speak. So I did it, and here we are. So,
Well,
that a good answer?
perfect.
Yeah.
So how do we perceive the pleasure that we give Krishna? Like I can chant and intellectually know this is pleasing Krishna, and I can like state my intent, like I'm doing this to please you, Krishna. But then like how do I directly see what he's experiencing, like the pleasure that I'm giving him? Or just an understanding?
Because we're linked together so closely, so tight with Krishna. When we make him happy, you're going to know it. You're going to feel it. I mean, there's many different times when you may do something. Even if you factor out God, what if you just do the right thing? Sometimes you got a choice to do the right thing, or maybe this isn't so right, and you decide, I'm doing the right thing. And it gives you a really wonderful feeling because you didn't have to. And maybe you did it, and nobody's ever going to know that you made the sacrifice to do the right thing. But you feel it, you see. So it's similar to the feeling that you get when Krishna is satisfied, when Krishna is happy. When he's happy, you feel it. Like the Radha Madhava in Mayapur. You go before these deities in Mayapur. They're so happy that you're there. You really feel it. I mean, you feel all kinds of things. You don't know what it is that you're feeling, but it's really wonderful. You can tell you're happy that I'm here. And that makes you feel very, very satisfied, very happy. Everyone should someday, if you ever get the chance, if you don't get the chance, make the chance. Go to Mayapur. Go to Mayapur, see the real spiritual world. It is truly the spiritual world. And if you go, you'll figure it out. That it's not the material world. You're there in the spiritual world, in Krishna's kingdom. And it becomes very obvious to you what's going on. Am I right? It's very obvious what's going on here. Krishna, you're here with all of your associates, and the thing that you do here. And I get to go not only look at it, but become swept away, become a part of it. See? So what's going on, people may wonder what goes on in the spiritual world. Go to Mayapur, you can see. Krishna's he's having his pastimes every day. So it's a majestic place.
You're talking about surrendering to Krishna. Is it also the same when we surrender to the spiritual master?
It is identical. The spiritual master is the guru, is the direct representative of Krishna. Direct representative. Now, if the guru is not a bona fide guru, then he doesn't represent anything but nonsense. Or if he tells the truth most of the time, but then kind of writes his own story, he's still not bona fide. But If he sold out to his guru, who was sold out to his guru, all the way back to Krishna, the same thing. It's Krishna talking in your ear. None different. That's if the guru is bona fide.
A follow-up question to that. How can we, if we decide when we make the choice to surrender to our spiritual master, how can we please our spiritual master? Is it identical to pleasing Krishna as well?
Same thing.
Same thing.
Same thing. It's not like the guru has any separate desire, separate from Krishna's. You know, if he does, then he's not a bona fide guru. You need to keep on looking. Somebody who knows what Krishna wants. What does Krishna want for you? And he simply delivers that to you. A personal message from Krishna. But he has to be surrendered so that it's like the postman. Somebody sends you a piece of mail. The postman doesn't open it up and change anything. He just takes it and he delivers it to you. So this is the position of the guru. He just takes Krishna, gives you Krishna. His own personal motivation should not be there. Personal motivation is poison to spiritual development. I mean, that flies in the face of material life. You know, there's all of the Tony Robbins guys and all these people, they're going to tell you something entirely different. And in their world, what they tell you is true. How to chase a dollar, you know, how to do this, how to do that. I don't think Tony Robbins is able to give you God. You see? And he has his own motivations. You see? He's just trying to get you to aspire for your motivation. Who teaches you how to aspire for the motivation of God? What does God want? Why am I so concerned about what I want? I'm an eternal part and parcel of this God. I'm linked to him for eternity. It's not like he's going anywhere or I'm going anywhere. You see? Why not work together? Why not come to the realization that you're the source of all sources and I depend on you 100%. 100%. I need intelligence. Intelligence comes from you. I need this. I need whatever it is that I need for me to serve you, my Lord, has to come from you. You're the source of all sources. So we're in harmony. We're working together. I want to serve you. I want to demonstrate my love, but I need resources to do that. I depend on you for everything. Yeah.
How do you know if like the career that we're doing, the work we're doing is actually what Krishna wants? Like I say, I'm doing like some computer stuff, like maybe Krishna would prefer that I do something more related to him. How do I know if like I should continue doing my job versus like change directions or something?
Depends on the position you are in your life at a given time, place, circumstance. At some point in your life, it may be beneficial for you to work whatever is your given profession. You're good at it. So it may be beneficial. As time goes on, you may start to think that, well, actually, I think Krishna needs to do more of this, more preaching or more whatever. So it could change. You know, someone has a family, then they need to, they depend on Krishna for the ability to take care of the family. Krishna will empower us to do whatever it is that we want to do, even if we want him to empower us to do some nonsense. I want to climb Mount Everest. I don't have to climb Mount Everest, but God, even though it's just a dumb thing to do. I mean, there's a whole lot of dead people that tried to get up there and didn't make it back down. And I don't know what they got for it. all of those people have pretty much been forgotten. So their dream really didn't get them anything. Didn't benefit anybody else either. It got them dead, you know. And so why not follow Krishna's dream? Why, he can dream better than I can. And I've got to have faith. I've got to believe that he's my dearmost friend. If he's not, then I don't have a friend. I've got a world of fallible soldiers. We can't depend on being Americans. Why, we're the biggest, most richest, most powerful country. That could change at any time. The world does that a lot. It changes a lot. So if we're not going to depend on God, we're without help. I mean, we can't depend on the government. But, you know, some things, sometimes, but not forever. You see? So we have to get to that feeling that, my dear Krishna, I don't have anything but you. You're all that I have. Like Arjuna came to that feeling. Please instruct me. Tell me what it is I need to know. So Krishna's got all the secrets. And he wants to give them and share them with you. You see. But we want something different. So that he empowers us to chase some dreams for billions of lifetimes. And here we are. We're sitting here. Get out of that dream situation and try to find reality. Reality is a very beautiful, wonderful thing. We don't need these daydreams or night dreams, or we don't need to. We just need to find out who and what we truly are. What is our eternal relationship with Krishna? We need to know that. What we should be interested in is when Krishna looks at you, when God looks at you, not this body, you, the eternal soul. What does he see? Now that's something to meditate on. What does he see when he looks at you? It's not this 77-year-old body. Not that. There is an eternal you that he's known forever. And he's very attracted to. So we should be wondering, what is it? How will I ever see what he sees when he looks at me? Maybe someday you'll be looking in Krishna's eyes. And you've probably seen this happen to you before. You look in somebody's eye, people of their eye, you can see your reflection. So maybe that's how Krishna's going to show you what he sees when he looks at you, what he's always seen, since before there was ever any time. So that should be our meditation. What do you see? Not what can I dream me to be, or go get a makeover, or a new do, or what am I really? And you know, because you're part and parcel of him, it's got to be something really beautiful. Because he only deals with the best. You know, everything around him is the most beautiful. He's the source of beauty. So we the soul, are so beautiful that we attract the source of beauty. And I don't know about you, but I'm dying to figure out what is it? What do you see in me? Why have you been my dear friend for all of these trillions of lifetimes? After all this, we're still together. You see, I've let you down and let you down, but we're still together. You know, so Krishna knows how to win your heart. You just have to get close enough. But he'll take it. He'll take your heart away. So, I guess we should probably wrap it up, huh? Unless there's maybe one more question. Quick question? Quicker than that. Okay, thank you so much. All glories to CFO.
Yeah,